Do you remember the first time that you went to the University of Western North Carolina? I do. The year was 1999. I was just graduating high school. I was full of ambition, spit, and fire as a high school kid. I was seeking to get away from my parents and travel abroad, away from the nest, you might say. As I approached the University of Western North Carolina, I was in the heart of the Blue Ridge Parkway, deep into the mountains. The hues of blue reflected off the clouds that would sit in the valleys of the mountains. The green shrubbery, the leaves, reflected brightness, opportunity, and growth. Even the grass that grew up sprouted tassels that would dance in the wind, and the clouds that sit in the valleys of the mountains had a cool touch to the skin. It was Western North Carolina, and I was on my way to my first growth opportunity. I had just passed O'Malley's, a famous landmark that we all know and love, where we could get a pint of beer after late nights of pledging. As we turned the corner and headed on to 107 and lately onto Old Cullowhee Road, we realized that this was the beginning of something new and something fresh. I was at Benton Hall, and I was getting ready to pledge for Kappa Alpha Order. Thank you, fellow brothers, distinguished guests, roses, and leaders of the Kappa Alpha Order. Tonight, we come together for a celebration of 50 years. The chapter of Western North Carolina was founded on October 2nd, 1964. And we all have different memories from those experiences from 1964 and even today, as we have actives in our room that have shared experiences of pledging, of sacrifice, of Western North Carolina, and of the mountains. The event today represents the 50 years. That is not just a milestone or a designation, but really an opportunity to celebrate the journey behind us and the journey yet to come. So as we celebrate 50 years of brotherhood, we reflect upon the relationships, the friendships, the brotherhood, and the bond that binds us, the fraternal order of Kappa Alpha. This weekend should be a conduit between old and young, between the past, the present, the difference, and forgiveness. And most importantly, Excelsior, our motto, onward, upward, higher, higher. I know that we beat App State at least once. We had the goalpost mounted on our property on top of the mountain. We've had property on the river and property in the valleys. We've had sadness as we've seen these homes come and go. But the real house is really a home where the heart is, in brotherhood, in the bonds, in the relationships that we have as Kappa Alpha. We will continue to wave the flag and be leaders of a spiritual front, as Robert E. Lee and our banner states, Due et les Domus, which means for God and women. And we carry the flowers of magnolia and crimson roses. And what KA means to me is an opportunity to share that brotherhood. I stay in touch with my pledge brothers. We do activities together. When I'm down, they're there to bring me back up. And so this weekend is all about coming together, sharing opportunities, reigniting, and putting out old flames. Some of us come and some of us go, and there's brothers that are not here with us today, and we remember those. We can always celebrate Convivium on January the 19th as a celebration in January 19th in Robert E. Lee's honor in Charlotte, North Carolina. Or lake parties where we barbecue at Brother Harper's property with lots of food, fun, cigars, and from time to time a little moonshine. We will continue to band as brothers as we move forward, and this 50 years marks a great opportunity for us to collaborate new information. When I first started sharing this up, I only had 140 emails for over 700 fraternity brothers. Now we have over 400 emails out of the 700. We have updated contact information. We have new spirit and growth for the future. We will continue to communicate through our new website that we've established, www.kaluika.com, where we continue to update information, both alumni and what actives are doing. So I encourage you to band this weekend together in brotherhood and in loyalty and celebrate 50 years from October 2nd, 1964, and to continue to celebrate on October 25th for a homecoming at Western Carolina University. So I hope to see you guys all out October 25th, and that this weekend is a celebration, and that hope that everyone will come together and meet new brothers and develop deeper and stronger relationships. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Under my belt right here, pocket speech, just like you said. Amazing how that works. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, actually just a twist in the title. The objective today is to help the members compose a pocket speech. Sometimes you do show up at an event and nothing's under your belt, so to speak, and you do have to come up with a pocket speech. My idea for you today is simply that a pocket speech falls beautifully between a prepared speech, on the one hand, where you've had weeks or a long time to prepare what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, and a table topics where you have maybe 10 seconds at the most to prepare what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. Pocket speech falls right in the middle. So we've heard in the past about what the benefit of pocket speeches are. You're seeing today, hopefully, what the benefit of one is, and that is the ability to get up, talk, sound intelligent and not feckless, and present something to an audience to which you haven't done much preparation. So my point today is, pocket speech is not much different than table topics or a prepared speech. You have a subject, or what you want to accomplish, a main point, you have subpoints, and you have a close. So you have an open, a body, and a close. Real simple. So this is audience participation day. Who has a subject about which they feel strongly? An opinion, anything? Need a hand. Mario.
That we all do.
that we all.
Okay. Immigration.
Immigration, great, okay. So do you have a point one way or the other on immigration? Something you'd like to get across?
Generally, pro-immigration, strong.
Okay, perfect. So our purpose then is to persuade the audience that we want to be more proactive, more pro-immigration than we currently are. So I just need 3 subpoints for that. So stretch your minds a little bit, folks. Why should we be more pro-immigration? Anybody? What's a benefit of more immigration than we currently are? Increases the workforce is number 1. Perfect.
Humanitarian.
Humanitarian is number 2.
Education.
And how do you mean that?
So incorporating our students that maybe have undocumented status into the school system better.
Okay. So workforce, humanitarian, education. Is that what I heard? Great. So there's your pocket speech. I feel very strongly that we should have more open borders and more things in place that allow for proper immigration, proper documentation of people that come to the United States from elsewhere. Why do I believe that? Well, number 1, it's good for business. The more workers we have, the more competition there is. Our country is built around capitalist principles, and that's one of the foundations. More workers, more competition. They can also be entrepreneurial and create more businesses themselves. So one reason right away is it's good for our country. A second reason is it's humanitarian. There are people, we've seen the news reports, many of us have, that are literally dying to get here. And there are others that get here sick as well. And others that come here without families or friends. And so oftentimes these are minors that are unaccompanied by parents or guardians, and Can you imagine yourself being in a foreign country, not knowing the language, possibly being sick, hungry, needing attention, and having nowhere to turn? Absolutely, there's a humanitarian angle to improving our immigration policies. And third, it was education. Who doesn't agree that we should have a more educated workforce and society? Probably the hallmark of our country over the last 150 years has been its education system, public and private. And here you have an opportunity to help educate thousands of new citizens or potential workers, whether they end up staying in the United States or whether they end up going back to their country of origin or some other place. Nobody can argue with the fact that education makes them more prepared for the future. In summary, therefore, I'm promoting that we increase the opportunities for legal immigration and that the Congress, instead of taking a 5-week break, actually sit down with each other and the President and work out a plan. So having said that, that was a pocket speech. It didn't take very much. I had to come up with one main idea, one thing I was going to pursue. Whether I agreed or not, it didn't matter in this case. I was trying to give an example. 3 subpoints, which are, as we already heard, it's good for business, the workforce, it's good for humanitarian purposes, and it's good for education. And then wrap it up with a close, just like you do any other speech, as you saw me just do a second ago. What I really like about pocket speeches is they can also lend themselves to 2 other directions. Once you've done a pocket speech, you know the concepts you want to get across. You can expand that into a full-fledged manual speech at a future time. You already did your main point, your sub-points. All you need to do at this point is polish it, shine it up, make it work. And likewise, it can be used for table topics. Our club does not require you to answer the question. So oftentimes you can use what you just talked about or had prepared to talk about in a pocket speech to answer a question. If it's anywhere related to immigration or public policy or the government, I could have used that same format or those same subpoints because I've already talked about it. Always keep in mind a pocket speech is just like any other speech. You just have to do it faster, be prepared to do it on the fly, maybe a day beforehand or less. Have fun, and do all the other things you do as a Toastmaster. So, Mr. Toastmaster.
Today, I'm sorry. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. You get to your 10th speech, and now you're just going to skip over everything. Well, today I'd like to discuss a little bit about what I have learned in my practice of management consulting. And that is to make your time, your money count. Now, who thinks that time is more important than money? Show of hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I think that the time has the people who believe time has it is more important. Now, when I asked this same question to my family over the weekend, different constituency. So there were 4 adults. They all said time. Teenagers said money. And the young ones said, we don't care. Well, I do care. So when I go in front of my clients, I ask them, what is the most important thing that you can be doing now? And that actually was a trick that I learned from a very experienced management consultant. So one time we were traveling, and our client was coming at us with all kinds of things, all kinds of requests. Now, there were only 3 of us traveling with them. 3 of my people from my company traveling with our client. And the client had all kinds of requests. Things were coming at us all kinds of ways, and we said, okay, we can help you do what it is that you want to get done. But how is that? Well, we're going to have to prioritize a little bit. So first of all, let's identify what we need to do. Number one, and that is a rule that I always share with people. Know what you want to do. What are your goals? What is your mission? What do you need to make happen? Number two, do you have what it takes to get it done? Do you have the tools? Do you have the means? In the case of my client in that scenario that I described, do you have the people aligned to work with us to make it happen? In fact, most people who are coming to us asking us to do things because they didn't have the time to do it. Well, if you don't have the time to tell me what you want and what it is that you need to accomplish, I can't help you. So that is very important. Do you have what it takes to get it done? Do you have the money? You could tell me, get this building constructed overnight. I don't know if it could happen, but we could try, given enough resources, enough money. I could import workers, right? And then we could try to put a plan in place that would make it happen. Well, it's a likelihood, but with technology these days, it could possibly happen. Now, so you know what you want to do. And let's assume that you have what it takes to get it done. So what is next? So go ahead and do it? No. You still need to know what you need to do first. Because if you tell me that you have this stack of things to do, you still need to prioritize those. How do you prioritize? Well, you need to get an estimate of how long it's going to take each one of those. Like I said, building overnight is a challenge, to say the least. Now, if I have a stack of things, how am I going to prioritize them? I need to know that each item is going to take anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days, a couple of weeks. You usually try to break it down into smaller components so that you know that you can manage those components. Project management stuff, right? Know who's going to do it, know how long it's going to take, more or less, and make sure that everybody is lined up to get it done in order. All right, so let's assume now we know what we want. We know that we have the means to get it done, and now we also know which item we're going to do first. Now the only problem is sometimes you have people that see that list and will say, I don't agree with that. So you need to buy in. You need to make sure that now you're selling that idea. So yes, you brought me in here to tell you what to do and how to get it done, but if you don't have buy-in from your management, if you don't buy-in from your clients, if you don't buy-in from your coworkers, they're going to shoot it down. And it's not going to happen, it's not going to go anywhere. So the best laid plans, you know what happens? They don't get done if you don't have the buy-in from other people. There are many ways to do that, to get buy-in from people. I like to use a collaborative approach. That means get people involved early and often. So a few weeks ago, I made a presentation here about agile techniques. That's just one tool in the toolbox, But I like an approach that they take, which is poker, estimation poker. I don't know if you've ever seen that. They actually have like poker cards, and they have numbers. So when people are asked to estimate what something is going to take, they're asked to raise a card. So everybody has this deck, and they come up with a card. So the trick is to make it all at the same time, right? So if I were to ask you, okay, what's most important right now, you're going to, how long something is going to take, you're going to raise the card. If I tell you what's most important, that same thing. You can do the same thing with the cards. And it's all relative. So it doesn't matter what number you chose. So say it's one, I believe that the way it works is 1, 2, 5, and then it goes to 10, 20, 30, 40, and 100. The reason for that is that if you feel so strongly that you're going to use your 100 card and you only have 1 or 2 in the deck, then you know that that's most important to you. Now, if I raise a 1, you're going to average those, you get a 50. And that means that the group, if it is only 2 people as a group, we think that that's a 50. And then we compare relatively to what you felt that the other project was. And you can do that with time, you can do that with cost even, effort, because it's all estimation. Okay, so now I know that I know what to do, I know how to do it, I have the means to get it done. Just do it. Some people just sit on it. And it never happens. They say, thank you very much, Mr. Consultant. We love your project. Here is your money. We love your ideas. We come back 2 years later. Can you help us do that project that we talked about 2 years ago? It happens. And so, yes, we'll be very happy to help you. Now it's going to cost you a little bit more. But what I keep telling my clients then is not only do we go through that process of thinking and prioritizing and evaluating things, but also I tell them make sure that it's important to you, because if it is not important to you, then you're the wrong person to ask me to do this. And if it is important to you, you're going to make it count. And I ask you right now to think about it. Is this the most valuable use of your time? If this is the most valuable use of your time, you're learning something. Otherwise, please leave. You should be doing something else. Thank you.